guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and thanks for joining me for today's episode. Really appreciate that. And guys, today we're going to be talking about the freaking outrage and the heads that have exploded over the video I did a couple days ago on the Bassmaster EQ qualifier down at Lake Okeechobee, where the tournament was dominated by spinning rods and spotlighting for bass on the traditional South Florida fishery that is known for flipping and pitching and punching mats and all that type of stuff. This viewpoint that I had on this video was shared by the majority of bass anglers, and there is a segment of the spotlighters out there that just, they got butthurt unbelievable that anyone would actually, call them out for what happened down there. So I want to address that a little bit in today's video, sort of have a discussion around that, and definitely curious to get your guys' feedback on this after I get done with it as well here. Also, guys, to get started, a couple quick things here. Tackle Warehouse has got that big Black Friday sale going on right now. They have got discounts all across the board, up to 25% off. If you're interested in taking advantage of some of those sales, I'll have my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video. If you guys use that and bookmark that link, great way to support the channel here if you like the content. And thank you very much, everybody, for everybody that's taken time to hit that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. Really appreciate that. And big thank you for me and my family there. Okay, guys, let's get into this a little bit. I got so many freaking nasty comments from the spotlighters on this one. I do all the time, and I have forever. I mean, people are very defensive about a technique like spotlighting for bass that has allowed a lot of anglers to have a shortcut to success. And anything that threatens that, or any critique of that technique that they've used for a shortcut to success, they're very defensive about it. They get super angry about it. But here's one of the things I want to tell you on this. The majority of bass anglers in this country share my opinion on this. I'm not a minority. I'm not like some lone opinion on this whole thing, what happened down there. There's a lot of people that were really offended by the fact that so many people were using, the cheater box down there at Lake Okeechobee. And, that's what I want to get into. And here's the reason I wanted to do this video, because a lot of times I just think that, maybe it's just, I'm passionate on it. I'm over opinionated. Saturday morning, they had the top, I think it was the top 10 day Saturday morning down there at that tournament in Okeechobee. Guys, before 8 o'clock in the morning, I got 2 texts from 2 of my buddies that they had been watching that tournament down there, watching, the live and all of it, showing everybody a split screen, 4 people spinning rods, weenie worming around with their spotlight machine. And I got 2 texts from these guys, these friends of mine, and these guys have forward-facing sonar. They use forward-facing sonar. They're tournament anglers, and they have done good using forward-facing sonar. So these aren't 2 dudes that are completely anti-tech like I am. These are 2 guys that have Livescope on their boat, and both of them said, "Hey man, have you seen what is going on at Lake Okeechobee?" And they said they were disgusted by it, because they said, "I can't believe they're doing this to my Lake Okeechobee," because both of these guys have an affinity for Lake Okeechobee and the traditional techniques for catching bass in Okeechobee, which is punching mats, which is fishing reeds and flipping reeds, throwing, chatterbaits over hydrilla, throwing frogs over pads and that type of stuff. And they were saying they couldn't watch it. They say, "This is an insult to my bass fishing world." I said, I'm not going to watch somebody fishing a spinning rod looking at a spotlighting screen at Lake Okeechobee. That's just effed up. Like I said, these are Livescopers. These are 2 Livescoping dudes that have cashed a bunch of checks Livescoping, and they were outraged about it. So for all the dudes out there that got butthurt about my comment on this, you need to know that you guys are in the minority that feel like that. The majority of the people are like myself and my buddies that were Livescopers. They don't want to see this. And if you're a hardcore scoper and that's your game out there, you're going to have to accept the fact that you are going to be criticized for that technique, because there are millions of bass anglers in this country that don't consider that real fishing. They consider it as some type of legalized cheating, or against the tradition and the heritage of fishing, the whole 9 yards. We've heard all the conversations against live soap. So when you open yourself up, when somebody's out there throwing a spinning rod, staring down at a stupid live scope in a canal at Lake Okeechobee, you're going to open yourself up for criticism from the majority of bass anglers in this country. And for somebody to get pissed at me or other people for pointing that out, didn't listen to the whole video, because I made it very clear in that video. It's like, if I said the people that are live scoping at Lake Okeechobee right now, I do not blame them. I'm not calling them bad people or bad anglers or blaming them for what they're doing. They have been forced into doing that by Bassmaster and MLF. All of the blame, every bit of it, lays on Bassmaster management and the FLW or the MLF management for allowing that technique to be used in tournaments. The tournament anglers are not the ones that are at fault here. They're just using that technique because they have to do it to compete. And Lake Okeechobee proved it. Yeah, you can make a check and you can do this and that like in any other tournament, just real bass fishing. But the reality of the situation is, guys, if you're not spotlighting for bass, your odds of winning any tournament, I don't care if it's on Lake Okeechobee, here in the Ozarks, anywhere back east, down south, anywhere, if you are not spotlighting for bass, your odds of winning a tournament are next to nothing unless you just hit everything perfectly. Everything has to line up perfectly for a traditional bass fisherman to win on traditional techniques. Other than that, it's getting one everywhere with that. It's getting one in shallow water live scope, and it's getting one deep water live scope, and it's getting one in brackish water, in rivers, in lakes. It doesn't even matter. So you guys are gonna have to get over it. And you know, if somebody gets butthurt about somebody criticizing or trying to take away maybe the purity of that win, that is just the inherent problem that we have with Livescope. And the thing that really irritates me, guys, is this never used to be like this. All these guys, and again, I'm not trying to single anyone out, but the fact is the majority of the people that have success with Livescope are the younger generation. So they weren't here, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago to see the evolution of technology in terms of the reaction to it. I have been fishing tournaments since the 1970s. Started out with flashers. It went to two-dimensional sonar, very rudimentary LED screens of 2D sonar. There were some paper graphs. Then eventually two-dimensional sonar got a little bit more refined. And then you had side imaging. All of those technological advances, nobody said a word about it. It's like that was because they weren't a dominant force. It's like flashers, when they came out, they didn't dominate. It's like 2D sonar when it came out, or even side imaging. You didn't see every tournament get won with that like you do forward-facing sonar. So no, forward-facing sonar is not just another tool. It's not just another technological advancement that you have to keep up with the times or you're going to get left behind, Grandpa. That's not what it is. It's a completely different animal that is destroying every aspect of the sport. And there's a lot of people out there that have used forward-facing sonar to build a career on, that are going to fight tooth and nail against any criticism of this. That's why so many of the forward-facing sonar dudes hate me. They can't stand me because I'm seen as a threat to the future of that. And I like to think that I did have some small part to play in the rule changes with the Bassmaster and MLF, regarding forward-facing sonar. They did have to address it, and they did address it. Bassmaster, half the tournaments with it, half the tournament without, different periods in FLW. Before that, there was, whatever goes, anything you want, no holds barred. But, I think I'd had some impact on it and the people that follow my channel, and that pisses a lot of people off. But again, I don't care, because I'm here for the tradition and the sustainability and the future of the sport, the conservation of our sport, the conservation of everything that we hold dear in bass fishing. And there is not a damn thing that forward-facing sonar and Livescope does to enhance or protect or sustain the sport for the future. All it does, it destroys everything it touches. It pisses off everybody that it touches. It has undermined the fishing industry. Tackle sales are affected by it. Viewership's affected by it. Everybody is in this big chaos and division in the sport because of it. It has allowed people that would never have risen to the top level of the sport get to the top level of the sport through that technology. It has kicked out people that are true artists in the sport that have taken decades to hone their craft. They have been pushed out of the sport by this technology. It is the single most destructive negative piece of technology or equipment or anything that has ever entered not only the sport of bass fishing, but every angling category out there. Angling in Europe, in South America, in Australia, everywhere. It's affecting everything negatively. So, like I said, if you're one of the guys out there that's your game, you're going to have to get used to being criticized or, accomplishments being diminished a little bit with the use of that technology, because it is not traditional, real bass fishing in the real sense of the purity bass fishing is meant to be. So, anyway, guys, let me know what you think about that. Shoot me a few comments. We'll check in later.